They liken back to the 1970s, right? If you're reading all the headlines, oh, inflation hasn't been this high since 1981 or back in the 70s and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, what was happening then? We were transitioning into a brand new system.
Uh-huh.
What's happening now? We're transitioning into a brand new system. But this is bigger than it
Yeah.
was in the 70s. And I was there, so I actually do. I was a teenager. So I
Yeah.
was old enough to I didn't really comprehend everything, but I'm old enough to remember what that looked like.
Hmm.
And I have to tell you that this is like the fourth industrial revolution. This is a fourth revolution, and we're definitely going into digitized.
Hmm.
And because the only thing with central bank digital currencies, the only thing that I've been able to find so far to justify them creating that is debt. And
Hmm.
what that means is they have to burn off this massive amount of debt that they've accumulated so they can do it all over again. And
Yeah.
that's what the hyperinflation really enables. And you better have gold and silver because that's nothing else is going to protect you
Yeah.
as far as your wealth is concerned.
Yeah, because definitely we have some content coming up as well about quantitative tightening, and quantitative easing leads to quantitative tightening. So what that means in plain language over here is basically the Fed has make no news. It's not a secret because they put it into a lot of newspaper already. They're currently on a mission to make money disappear because they have printed a whole bunch of them before. So now it's time to kind of make them disappear, which is a method they use to control the inflation, or so they say. So in that manner,
And, and and honestly, we've been watching a number of countries like Mexico, and they're not the only ones, but raising rates and it's still not having an impact on their inflation. So that's just a theory, and
mhm,
that's a demand side theory
mhm,
because what central banks have are interest rates to control it. They wanted to encourage real estate because that's 30% of the global GDP. That's a
mhm,
huge part of
mhm,
the economy. So lowering rates, well, that's one of the reasons why we saw the prices go up so
right,
much, right?
yeah,
But now they're going to raise the rates, and I'll say this: they have to do it for their credibility.
mhm,
But yeah, are they going to raise the rates 21.5% like
I'm
Paul
not sure.
Volcker did?
Yeah,
And no. And by
yeah,
the way, I think that was more about getting ramp room to lower the rates to stimulate the economy. So they're gonna do it because they have to for their credibility,
mhm,
but you'll watch them do a big pivot. Because
yeah,
here's something super simple. There is only one way to fight inflation, and that's with deflation. That's
right,
why they're raising the rates.
yes.
But there's only one way to fight deflation, and that's with inflation.
Yes,
So this is not rocket science. It's actually pretty simple. So you get to the sidelines
yeah.
in an undervalued asset,
You hold your own currencies
you
essentially.
become your own central bank
Yeah,
because you can always convert this into any of the current currencies.
yeah.
Can't always
Um,
say that about currencies.
And we did have another question on this about gold ETF. I love this question because I know you're just gonna go to town on this one. Why buying gold ETF is worse than physical gold? It saves from storage and security costs.
Sure, it does. And if you don't hold it, you don't own it because a gold ETF or a silver ETF, all you own are shares in a trust. You have absolutely no access to the underlying physical. So it's just a share and it's designed to mimic the spot market, which is a manipulated market anyway.
Mhm.
You can see a premium in the physical market because that's a true supply and demand market. The Wall Street market is not. So if you go into stockcharts.com, this is cheap. I mean, this is free actually. Stockcharts.com, and you would put in GLD, and then you would put in, and you'd pull that graph up, and on the bottom you can go in and look at a perf chart. So this is a performance against the other. So you put in GLD and then you put in $GOLD. And then you compare them and you go all the way long. And what you will find is that GLD is actually a diminishing asset because they, in their prospectus, they say it, and they also show it in their 10Ks. They sell off parts of their gold holdings on a daily basis to pay the fees. So if you do GLD or any of the gold, any of the ETFs, you don't own gold, you don't own silver.
You own a piece of paper, right? Which is probably better than the fiat paper, but it's kind of like that indirect things, which there, anytime it's indirect, that there may be some proportion that's put it in there, what would not over there, which is why, like, you know, even in real estate, a lot of our investor gravitate towards a single asset or a portfolio. You know exactly what you're investing in.
Right.
So similar here with the gold as well.
Well, that, and you can only convert it into dollars that are going away. Does not do you any good.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Last question I have is about storage. For people who owns metal, they already knows about storage, etc. What are some different options to store large amount of metals, precious metals, and some of the pros and cons? Yeah.
Well, there are some people, I'm not one of them, because I want my gold and silver close enough to me that I can get it when I need to. Now, obviously, I'm too visible. There are so many hidden places in your home. Before I was so visible, those little 2-inch kick plates underneath your kitchen cabinets or your bathroom that's dead space. So I put in false floors. And, you know, who's going to think, oh, they've got gold or silver inside of their house? So
now they're going to think that because you shared that.
Yes, well, I hope enough people watch this, but, you know, but seriously, when I put together a little one sheet years ago on ideas to hold it, I personally hold it in a private vault because I don't really like bank vaults because they can declare a bank holiday. And also, you are not allowed to hold cash or bullion gold, which is new stuff, in bank safe deposit box because it's classified as hoarding. If you get it out of their possession, you're hoarding. If you leave it in the bank's possession, because that's really just a loan to the bank, well, then you're saving.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to
me.
I
mean, during COVID, I couldn't even wire money that's like rightfully in my account. So this kind of gives you some thoughts in terms of holding your gold in a 925 bank account, which if you're working, you don't have really time to get in there and get this out of there if you needed to. Yeah.
Now, there are some people that hold it in offshore storage, but in a crisis, which is what you're buying this for, I don't know that you'd be able to get it, just like you indicated on the wiring, but that's only your perception that that's your money in the bank, by the way. Legally, you're loaning it to the bank. That's why they can bail it in. And that's why you get a little 15-cent. I got 15 cents interest on my checking account. I have a lot of cash in there because I run a business, so I have to keep more cash than I would if I didn't run a business. But hey, that shows you loaned them the money, they're paying you interest on it. And therefore everything is in jeopardy. So it really does depend on what the portfolio looks like because you can hold it in a diversified manner too. I mean, what are you going to need first? You're going to need your barterable portfolio first, right? So that you really want it close enough for, like, I can walk to the vault. If I needed to walk to the vault, I can walk to the vault. That's easy. And so you might want to think about holding it in several different places, but I'd still just stay as private as possible because nobody needs to know. And your home, really, there are some great, easy hiding places. Not in the freezer because that's where they'll look, you know. But there are a lot of.
I never thought about freezer, but okay.
No, I think there's like a list of where robbers look first, like the underpants drawer, the freezer.
Huh.
And don't hold it
Interesting.
in the undie drawer. That's
Yeah.
not a good place.
Awesome.